I never believed in dreams. I used to laugh when my wife Emma would wake up in the middle of the night with trembling hands and wide haunted eyes. "It's just a dream," I'd say, pulling her close. "It can't hurt you." But now I know better. Because Emma left me because of a dream, and I think I'm the one stuck in it now. It started a few weeks ago. She began to change. Her eyes, once full of laughter and light, grew dim. She'd stare out the window for hours, lips moving as if whispering to something only she could see. I'd come home from work, and she wouldn't even notice me walking in. The house grew quieter every day. She stopped listening to music. She stopped talking. And at night she would bolt upright in bed, her skin cold, her breath heavy, clutching the bedsheet like she was drowning. One night, she finally spoke. "Oh, I have to go," she whispered. I laughed nervously. "Oh, Saga, where?" "Away from you." That crushed me. "Emma, what are you talking about?" She turned to me, eyes wide and terrified. "And I keep seeing you die, James, over and over, in every dream. You're screaming, but I can't help you. There's blood. And a door I can't open." She swallowed hard. "Someone is watching us, controlling us. I feel it. They said if I leave you, it'll stop." I tried to hold her, but she pulled away. "Emma, you're not making sense. You're just scared. It's a dream. That's all." But she didn't believe me. That night, she packed a bag and walked out of our home without looking back. I thought she just needed time. Maybe a few days, maybe a week. I waited. I called. I texted. Nothing. It was like she vanished. A week later, I started hearing things. The first time was in the kitchen. I was pouring myself some coffee, trying to pretend everything was okay, when I heard a whisper behind me. "She warned you." I spun around. No one there. Then came the dreams. At first, they were normal. Memories, fragments, nothing special. But then, the lines blurred. I'd wake up screaming, soaked in sweat. I saw Emma standing in the hallway, eyes black, pointing toward a red door I didn't recognize. Sometimes I saw myself, watching my life play out on an old film reel, only something was wrong. The scenes were twisted, wrong. My face would change, my voice sounded like someone else's, and always, there was someone in the shadows, watching, laughing. I thought I was losing my mind. Then, one morning I found a note slid under my front door. No return address. Just one sentence, "And you are not the dreamer, James. You're the dream." I dropped the paper like it burned. What did that even mean? Was this some cruel joke? Was Emma trying to scare me into following her? That day, I decided to go look for her. I went to her sister's place. Nothing. Her office? She'd quit weeks ago. No one had heard from her. It was like she didn't exist anymore. That night, I had the worst dream of all. I was in our bedroom, but it was darker, like the lights had been soaked in shadows. Emma stood at the foot of the bed, dressed in black, crying. Behind her stood that same red door. It pulsed like it was alive. She mouthed something to me. I couldn't hear it. But then the door creaked open. A long, pale hand reached out, grabbed her, and yanked her into the darkness. I screamed, ran toward her. But my feet wouldn't move. I woke up gasping, only to find scratches on my arms and dirt under my nails, like I'd been fighting something in my sleep. Since then, nothing feels real. The lights flicker even when there's no outage. My reflection sometimes blinks after I do. And I keep hearing that whisper. "Bunch, you're living her nightmare now." I don't know what's happening. I don't know where Emma went or why. But one thing is clear. This isn't just about a dream anymore. It's something deeper, something darker. And somehow, I've become trapped inside it. I stopped sleeping. I had to. Every time I closed my eyes, I was back in that place. Emma crying, the red door pulsing like a heartbeat, the whispering growing louder, closer. So, I forced myself to stay awake, drinking coffee by the gallon and pacing through the house like a ghost. But even awake, things weren't right. Not anymore. Mirrors had become my enemy. It started small. I'd catch glimpses of movement behind me that vanished when I turned around. Then one morning, brushing my teeth, I froze. My reflection was smiling, but I wasn't. I dropped the toothbrush, stared at it. My reflection still stared back with that crooked, mocking grin. And then, just for a second, it leaned forward and mouthed the words, "She warned you." I smashed the mirror with my fist. Blood poured from my knuckles, but I didn't care. The pain felt real. It reminded me I was real. Right? The house began to breathe. That's the only way I can describe it. The air pulsed like lungs expanding and collapsing. The lights would dim in rhythm. Floors creaked, even though I stood still. The walls began to hum at night, like they were trying to speak. I heard whispers in the pipes, the faucet, even in the ticking of the clock. And always, that same voice behind the whisper, Emma. But not the Emma I knew. No, this voice was softer, sadder, almost broken, like she was trapped in her own nightmare, and I was just starting mine. Then came the tapes. I found the first one in the mailbox. No return address, no note, just an old VHS tape labeled in black marker, Play Me. I didn't even own a VCR anymore, but something inside me whispered, get one. Now. I went to a thrift store the same day. I didn't even ask questions. The old man behind the counter didn't blink when I told him what I needed, just handed it over like he was expecting me. That night, I pressed play. The footage was grainy, flickering with static. At first, it was just footage of our house, Emma in the kitchen, me walking down the stairs, normal things, but shot from weird angles, as if someone, or something, was watching us from the walls. The camera followed us everywhere. The bedroom, the shower, the basement. But then it got worse. The scene changed to a dark hallway with red lighting. Emma stood at the end of it, barefoot, whispering into a wall. A man stood behind her. He wore my face, but it wasn't me. His smile was wider, crueler. He whispered something into her ear. She screamed and tried to run. The screen glitched. The man turned toward the camera and said, she left because of you. Now you live where she ran. I yanked the tape out of the player and threw it across the room. It hissed as if alive, the tape spilling out like black veins onto the floor. I thought about calling someone, police, a therapist, anyone, but what would I say? But my wife left me because of a dream, and now I'm being haunted by VHS tapes and evil reflections? They'd lock me up. Maybe they should. I went upstairs to shower. The mirror above the sink was still cracked. I looked into it anyway. This time, my reflection didn't smile. It spoke. She's waiting, James, behind the red door. I stepped back, heart racing. That door again? I'd never seen it in the house, yet it haunted my dreams. It wasn't real, was it? But the more I thought about it, the more I remembered something strange. Years ago, when we moved in, Emma once mentioned a strange part of the basement, some sealed crawl space, too small to walk into. I had forgotten all about it. She said she always felt something off about it. I laughed it off then. Now I wasn't laughing. I grabbed a flashlight and headed to the basement. The air grew colder with every step. The walls seemed tighter. The light flickered as I walked past the shelves we hadn't touched in years. Then, I found it. The sealed corner, covered in dust and cobwebs. It looked like just a wall, but I felt it. A breeze. A cold draft coming from behind. My hands trembled as I touched the bricks. One of them felt loose. I pushed. Click. The wall gave way, revealing a narrow tunnel, and at the end of it, a door. Not just any door. A red door. It pulsed, like it was breathing. I don't know what's behind it. I don't know if I should open it. But the whispers have stopped now. They're waiting. And somehow I think this is what Emma saw in her dream, where she ran from. And what she tried to protect me from, but now, it's too late. The door wasn't painted red. It was red, alive, breathing, pulsing like a vein. It didn't have a handle, just a strange black circle in the middle. As I stood there, frozen, the whispers returned. But this time, they weren't behind me. They were inside my head, clear, familiar. Emma's voice. Don't open it, James. Please, don't open it. But how could I not? After everything, her leaving, the dreams, the tapes, the mirror, it all led here. This door was the center of everything. Maybe behind it I'd find answers. Or maybe I'd find Emma. I reached out, my fingers brushing the surface. It felt warm. Too warm. Like skin. The circle lit up. A slow hum filled the space, and the door opened on its own. What I saw behind it didn't make sense. It wasn't a room. It was a landscape. A gray sky stretched above a black, dead forest. Trees without leaves stood crooked, like bones poking from the earth. The ground wasn't dirt, but mirrors. Shattered, scattered everywhere, reflecting broken versions of myself, laughing, crying, screaming. I stepped through. My house vanished behind me. I walked for what felt like hours. No wind, no sound, just the crunch of glass beneath my feet. Then I saw her, Emma. She stood at the edge of a cliff, her white dress billowing in wind that didn't exist. Her back was to me. "Oh, Emma!" I yelled. She didn't turn. I ran to her. My voice cracked. "Emma, what is this place?" Finally she turned. Her eyes weren't hers. They were mirrors too, reflecting me, but in each reflection I was different. One version of me was older, Another one was bleeding. One was laughing manically. "Un shouldn't have come," she whispered. "Un, I had to," I said. "Why did you leave? What happened to us?" She stepped back. "Because this was always yours. I saw it in the dream. Your nightmare was stronger than mine. It became real. And when two dreams clash, only one can survive." I shook my head, heart pounding. "Oh, I don't understand." She pointed behind me. I turned and saw me, but it wasn't a reflection. It was another me, walking toward us with a stitched smile, eyes hollow, dragging a knife along the glassy ground. I stepped in front of Emma. "Run!" she screamed. The other me lunged. I wrestled him, or it, or whatever he was. His grip was ice. His skin cracked like glass under my hands. We struggled near the cliff's edge. Emma screamed again. "James, you have to wake up. I'm not sleeping," I shouted. "Yes, you are," she cried. That moment, the world cracked. The trees shattered. The sky turned red. The glass ground exploded beneath us. I was falling into darkness. Then, silence. I woke up in bed, my old bed, in our old room. Sunlight spilled across the sheets. Birds chirped outside. Everything looked normal. I sat up. Emma lay beside me, sleeping peacefully. "Temma?" I whispered. She stirred, opened her eyes, smiled. "Bad dream?" she asked. I nodded slowly, too scared to speak. She leaned over and kissed my forehead. "It's over now." I tried to believe her. I got out of bed and walked into the bathroom, splashed cold water on my face, looked into the mirror. My reflection blinked before I did. It smiled and whispered, "You're still dreaming." Behind me, the bathroom door creaked closed on its own. Click, locked.